Hi, this is Dr. Rob Lindsay from Vallejo Health and Wellness Center, and this is another one of our video series here. Today we're going to talk about parasites. Okay, I'm going to give you a brief overview and clinically proven solution to help you with this. So let's start with a little background first of all. So what is a parasite? Well, a parasite is an organism that lives off of and generally within a host body. Okay, it could be our own, it could be another living organism, it could be a plant, it could be an animal, it could be your dog, right? Now, they live off the life, our life, of another body by feeding on the nutrients, cells, and organs of the host, right, you, and also they're reproducing by depositing thousands of eggs, or simply by, having cell division over and over and over within the host, within you, your tissues and cells. So that's a parasite. They take from you, don't give you anything good back. So it doesn't sound like a very good trade to me. Well, just a picture here, the life cycle stages of different types of parasites, and they can live from an egg, in an egg version, and all the way up to an adult version. And an adult version could be like a worm, like a tapeworm. It could be huge, it could be very long. So this is one of the issues with when we run across parasites, is you have to be able to kill no matter what form they're in, and we'll tell you about that in a little bit. But, should you be concerned about parasites? Right? Because you may think, well, I don't have any. Well, the answer absolutely is yes. See, parasites are known to infect almost every person at some time in their life. Now, I dealt with parasites this last year myself. All right? I had a liver fluke. Now, it's estimated that as many as 85% of the world's population is infected. That's a lot of people. In fact, it's highly likely that you're infected right now by one or more of over 1,000 known parasites, okay, which can live in your body at any given time. Now, due to the global disruption by parasites in the body's normal functioning and maintenance, some scientists actually believe that parasitic infections is often responsible, okay, for many chronic diseases such as cancer, diabetes, liver dysfunction, HIV infection, and others. I'm here to tell you in our office that we find infections with people all the time, and they don't necessarily have the kind of symptoms you would think. They may not have just gastrointestinal. They could have brain fog, as an example. Parasites are difficult to diagnose, okay, using lab tests. Giardia, for example, and Entamoeba histolytica are among the most common parasitic infections. And the best lab test for these two parasites is a blood test, and that's now commonly available. Okay? Now, most other lab tests are all but useless. A parasitically infected person may often present with symptoms of other diseases, such as flus, colds, migraine headaches, cysts, neurologic disorders, anemia, chronic fatigue, general just tiredness, frequent constipation, chronic weight problems, they can't lose weight, iron deficiency, etc. So often, parasite infestation is not even suspected or tested for because you just don't equate a parasitic infection with a migraine. It could be the cause though. Parasites prefer an acid pH, okay, to live in, and often cause a worsening of pH wherever they choose to infest. This is due in part to their secretion of numerous toxins which imbalance the pH, creating too much acidity, which in turn can cause the body to enter into an emergency state of ammonia, too much ammonia. In this emergency state, the body may appear to be highly alkaline when testing the first morning urine pH, but in reality, there's a high acidity condition which has become masked by the body's emergency production of ammonia to buffer the acidity, so you can get confused and tricked. Well, how do we become infested or infected with parasites? Most parasitic infections come from our food and water sources, okay? Undercooked meat, right? Watch out for rare meat, like beef, poultry, and pork. Undercooked raw seafood, raw oysters, clams, and sushi. These are common vectors for parasites, as well as unwashed fruits and vegetables. Drinking contaminated water and swimming in water as found in lakes and rivers will expose us to parasites as well. I have a patient that was just here recently, the whole family has chronic digestive issues. It turns out that they found a dead deer laying in their well, the bottom of their well. So they were drinking this well water with the deer just laying in the bottom of this thing because it had fallen in the well. Can you imagine how many critters, bacteria, viruses, parasites might have been able from the deer into them? And it's no wonder they were in such bad shape. Parasites can also be transmitted by human contact alone, okay, through drinking from the same glass, eating from the same utensils, kissing. Even a kiss on the cheek can transfer some parasites, okay, which can enter the skin at the point or migrate across the skin into your mouth. Okay, you can also get it from sneezing and other exchanges of body fluids. Animals, especially pets which may have fleas, mites, or ticks, are also common vectors which can transmit parasites to humans. Even petting and grooming our pets can facilitate infection if the parasite's eggs pass from their fur to our hands, nose, and mouth. Some parasites, such as pinworms, can even be transmitted through the air and maybe in the dust we breathe. Therefore, it's often likely that those who live in the same household may all have the same parasitic infections, whether they are currently symptomatic or not. So, can't my immune system handle any parasites that are infecting me? Sometimes. See, parasites are curious organisms that are really built for survival. Okay, they're able to survive because they generally are undetected by our defenses, and they're very good at it. Okay, although your immune system may be able to control some parasitic growth on its own, in more advanced cases, your immune system needs help to eliminate these parasitic organisms because they're multicellular and they're much larger than most bacteria and viruses are. Some parasites even have learned how to successfully invade the human immune system by incorporating themselves around macrophages that actually suppress your immune system, and they release different antigens so that the parasite, in effect, presents a moving target to the host's immune system. It's constantly moving, we can't get at it with our immune system. So what kind of parasites should I be concerned about? Well, there are many types, right? Parasites are more common than most people realize, and they can be easily contracted. There are a number of major common parasites which can live in the human host, such as protozoans, flukes or flatworms, roundworms, and tapeworms. Well, are there any medical tests that we can use to find out if we have a parasite infection? Yeah, there are, but unfortunately, typical medical lab test is very inaccurate in diagnosing these parasitic infections. Typical medical tests can only detect some 50 out of 1,000 different varieties of parasites. However, these tests can detect only about 20% of those individuals who are truly infected because parasites can take so many different physical forms, all right? Because in the different stages, remember we showed you on the egg stage all the way up to adult? Well, if the test is geared to find eggs, but there are no eggs, how are you going to find it? So not very good odds. That's why medical diagnosis of parasitic infection translate to some rather abysmal confidence levels in the accuracy of these tests and the probability of them correctly diagnosing you. Well, are there any medications that effectively eliminate a broad spectrum of parasites? Unfortunately not. Okay, most available drugs, parasite-type anti-parasitic drugs, are usually specific for only one particular parasitic organism. In addition, most anti-parasitic drugs are generally not effective because they target only certain areas of the body's physiology, okay, or are only effective for certain stages of parasitic growth. Worse yet, parasitic drugs can be generally very toxic, even in the small doses needed. Thus, okay, it must be used very carefully. So, because of the cunning survival strategies of these parasites and the fact that most are strikingly mobile and motile, okay, they can quickly migrate from one area of the body that is being medicated to another area that's not. It's making it almost impossible for complete elimination by most pharmaceuticals. Well, then you must be asking, well, what can be done? I'm glad you asked. See, we need to return to the wisdom of the ancients, and for many centuries in various countries, Hollerina antidysenterica an Ayurvedically grown and processed Indian botanical agent, an herb, has been effectively used to clear all known parasites in the GI tract. In fact, even today, this herb is the leading anti-parasitic agent in India, Europe, Asia, and other countries. Many so-called anti-parasitic formulas on the market in the US are typically narrower in spectrum, often containing poorly grown herbs, and generally are not effective against many varieties of parasites. So how does Holarina work against parasites? Holarina antidysenterica contains a broad spectrum of naturally occurring phytochemicals, which are known lethal antagonists to parasites. In addition, it contains bitter alkaloids which act as a natural toner and strengthener of the GI tract. So how long does it take before Holarina works? As soon as you begin taking Holarina, it begins to work immediately, often within days. You actually maybe begin to pass these parasites, the hulls, the eggs, in your feces. At times, some people may actually see these parasitic forms and their particles being shedded in the toilet. That seems really gross, right? However, many people do not necessarily visually notice anything because they're microscopic. So you may be able to start to feel an increase in energy. This is something we'd use in our office. We use a broad spectrum of anti-parasitic herbs that have this Holarina in it. So how long do you need to take it for? Well, the initial recommendation is to take it daily, for about 3 months, depending on what you find. The best way to determine if this is what you need is to actually have muscle testing done using applied kinesiology to find out if your body can actually handle this particular herb and if it's what you need. So I want to thank you for watching this video. Just realize that parasites are very common. They're all over the place. We find them in people all the time, and we have the resources to be able to kill them as long as we can find them. So if you'd like to learn more, you can call our office, 952-949-0676. Again, I'm Dr. Rob Lindsay, Vallejo Health and Wellness Center, and I hope that you have a great day. God bless you.